The turkey who came to dinner. It was Thanksgiving Day. At the Pickles' home, everyone was busy. Dee Dee was telling Tommy, Phil, and Lil about the celebration of Thanksgiving. Stu and Drew were setting up lots of TVs and satellite dishes so they could watch every football game in the country. Angelica was watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on TV, while Grandpa Boris snored on the couch. Everyone else was in the kitchen, arguing about what to make for dinner. Ding dong! Dee Dee answered the door. It was Chuckle and his dad. "Why do you guys got feathers on your heads?" Chuckle asked the Rugrats. "We're playing Naked Americans," said Tommy. He put a feathered headdress on Chucky. "Do I gotta take my clothes off?" Chucky asked nervously. "No, Chucky," said Tommy. "It's Thanksgiving." "Who's Thanksgiving?" Chucky wanted to know. "It's not a person, Chucky," Tommy explained. "It's the day we have a big dinner with our family and friends and remember how happy we are." So the Rugrats sat down for a tasty make-believe Thanksgiving dinner of Reptar cereal and also some crackers they found under the couch. In the meantime, everyone was waiting for Grandpa Lou to bring home the Thanksgiving turkey. He soon came back with a bag. He reached in and pulled out a trophy. "Pop!" cried Dee Dee. "You did buy our turkey, didn't you?" "I did better than that," said Grandpa Lou. "I won a turkey. They said it'd be here by 4 at the latest." 4 o'clock? That was way too late. Dee Dee, Minka, Charlotte, Betty, and Howard hopped in the car and raced to the grocery store. They needed a turkey right away. Just then, there was a knock at the door. It was a delivery man carrying a big box. He woke Grandpa Boris. "What? Can't you see I'm sleeping?" asked Boris. "Look, I'm sorry to bother you," said the delivery man, "but I've got a turkey here. Where should I put it?" Boris sighed. "Where else does a turkey go on Thanksgiving?" he said. "In the kitchen." "Thanks," said the delivery man. Boris fell back to sleep. The Rugrats followed the delivery man into the kitchen. He placed the box on the floor and left. The baby stared at the box. What could be inside? Chucky screwed up his courage and took a peek. A pair of beady black eyes looked right back at him. "There's something in that box," Chucky whispered as he quickly backed away. Tommy toddled over and knocked on the box. "Hello?" he said. The box began to shake. Suddenly, a flapping, gobbling creature burst out. "Ah!" the Rugrats screamed. It was a real, live turkey. Tommy wanted to invite it to dinner, but Chucky wasn't sure. "He's awful scary looking," he said. Chucky may not have liked the turkey, but the turkey sure liked Spike. Everywhere Spike went, the turkey trailed behind him. It followed the dog all around the yard, and the Rugrats were right on its tail. Just then Angelica appeared. "What are you doing with that turkey?" she asked. "We're trying to ask it to come to our dinner," said Tommy. "Oh, he's coming to dinner all right," said Angelica. "He's going to be dinner." The Rugrats gasped. "You were supposed to say thank you to your friends on Thanksgiving, not eat them." "We've got to get him out the yard," said Tommy. "I think he's a bird. Maybe he can fly." Meanwhile, Grandpa Boris finally woke up. Grandpa Louis had found the empty box and wanted to know where his turkey was. A delivery man came a little while ago, explained Boris. I told him to put your turkey in the kitchen. Well, he's not here now, Louis said, as he put on a helmet. It must be in the house somewhere. He grabbed a big net and then he grabbed Boris. The two men started their search. In the backyard, the rugrats were flapping their arms, hoping the turkey would get the picture. It didn't. They tied a string around the turkey's neck and tried to make it run fast so they could fly it like a kite. That didn't work either. Finally, the babies put the bird on one end of the teeter-totter and jumped on the other end, but it was no use. The turkey would not fly away. Just then, Didi and the gang returned from the grocery store with no turkey. They did have a frozen turkey dinner, turkey franks, and turkey pastrami. Everyone was still arguing, and they all raced to the kitchen to use the microwave. Meanwhile, Louis and Boris spotted the turkey in the backyard. They chased it with their net as the poor bird ran around in circles. Angelica joined in too. Suddenly, Angelica tripped. Boris and Louis jumped over her and landed on one end of the teeter-totter. At the same time, the turkey landed on the other end. Gobble, 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 squawked the frightened turkey as it flew through the air, flapping its wings. It looked like the turkey was going to make it when it flew right into the tower of satellite dishes. Crash! The dishes toppled to the ground. So did the turkey. In the living room, every TV set had been turned to one very exciting football game. Stu and Drew were on the edge of their seats. Suddenly, all of the TVs fizzled out. In the kitchen, the microwave, with all the food inside, exploded. Oh no, cried Didi, the kids! Everyone ran outside. There was no need to worry. The rugrats were fine. But what about the turkey? Everyone held their breath. Finally, under the pile of satellite dishes, something moved. The turkey popped his head out. The rugrats smiled. Their new friend was okay. That thing ruined our football game, shouted Stu. It ruined our dinner, added Betty. Everyone murmured in agreement. Well, dinner's not quite ruined, said Drew. We still got a turkey. All the grown-ups took a step forward to the frightened bird. The rugrats held hands and formed a line to protect the turkey. What are the kids doing? Someone asked. Maybe they think we want to eat it, Chas said. Well, don't we? It ruined our Thanksgiving, said Betty. Finally, Didi spoke up. No, she said. This turkey didn't ruin our Thanksgiving. We did. We spent the whole day arguing about what to eat and what to watch. Thanksgiving isn't about football or food or parades. Thanksgiving is about family and friends. Everyone looked around sheepishly. They knew Didi was right. Boris broke the silence. Friends. I like, but what are we going to eat? Everything is kaput, he said. So Tommy shared his Thanksgiving dinner. Everyone feasted on Reptar cereal and milk. Spike even shared his food with the turkey. It was a Thanksgiving no one would soon forget. Turkey's best Thanksgiving. Turkey was troubled. One morning he saw Farmer Jones with his axe, and Thanksgiving was only a week away. Turkey fought and fought. Then he had an idea. He would change himself so that Farmer Jones and his axe could not find him on Thanksgiving morning. The next day, Turkey went to Cow. Cow, he said, what makes you a cow? Cow chewed and chewed. I have spots, she said, and I say moo. So Turkey tried to look like a cow. This was not good. Turkey was still troubled. On Saturday, Turkey went to Pig. Pig, he said, what makes you a pig? Pig gave a loud snort. I have a curly tail, and I say oink. So Turkey tried to look like a pig. Oh my, this was not good either. Turkey was quite troubled. On Sunday, Turkey went to Sheep. Sheep, he said, what makes you a sheep? Sheep licked her lips. I am covered in wool, and I say baa. So Turkey tried to look like a sheep. Oh dear, this was not good either. Turkey was very troubled. On Monday, Turkey went to Dog. Dog, he said, what makes you a dog? Dog wagged his tail. I have long ears, and I say woof. So Turkey tried to look like a dog. Oh bother, this was not good either. Turkey was more troubled. On Tuesday, Turkey went to Cat. Cat, he said, what makes you a cat? Cat cleaned her paws. I have long, lovely whiskers, and I say meow. So Turkey tried to look like a cat. Oh drat, this was not good either. Turkey was really troubled. On Wednesday, Turkey went to Old Horse. Old Horse, he said, what makes you a horse? Old Horse blinked. He did not know what to say, for other turkeys had asked him this before. At last he said, I have a long mane, and I say nah. So Turkey tried to look like a horse. Oh help, this was not good either. Turkey was terribly troubled. He began to cry. Tomorrow was Thanksgiving Day, and nothing was good at all. Old Horse felt sad for Turkey. Then he smiled. He had a different idea. On Thanksgiving morning, Farmer Jones walked into the barn. He came out of the barn with his axe. Then he stopped. Farmer Jones stared and stared. What do you think he saw? He saw a turkey with spots. He saw a turkey with wool. He saw turkeys with tails, a mane, whiskers, and long ears. But which turkey was the real turkey? Farmer Jones shook his head. He looked at his axe. Oh well, he said, I can still use this to cut down a Christmas tree. That night, Farmer Jones and his family had pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving dinner, and it was good. The turkey saves the day. Dawn was breaking when the men rounded up the last of the turkeys for the market. Toby felt the chill as light snowflakes landed on his feathers. The driver heaved a cage onto the truck. A few minutes later, another cage was loaded, then another and another. Toby's was the last cage on the truck. Then the back gate was closed. The men disappeared, and the truck started to shake and rumble. Trees swept past as Toby watched at the back gate. We're moving, he thought excitedly. Toby had always wanted to travel. He often wondered what was beyond the rolling hills that surrounded his ranch. Suddenly there was a loud thump as the truck hit a bump in the road. The back gate of the truck opened, and Toby's cage slid out. Eek! Toby cried, squeezing his eyes shut. His cage went flying, then landed with a crash. Toby slowly opened his eyes and saw the truck disappearing down the road. As he stepped out of his broken cage, a car zoomed by. "I'll head for the woods," Toby thought. "I'll be safe there." He began looking for a place to rest and think. All of a sudden, an owl swooped down out of the sky. "This is an odd time of morning for a farm animal to be about," said the owl. "Are you searching for someone?" "No," said Toby, who was a little afraid of the large bird. "I fell off a truck and they drove on without me." "Well, young fella," said the owl, "I'll say this was your lucky day." "Why?" asked Toby. "Thanksgiving," said the owl. "A long time ago, some people called pilgrims came to this land from far away. The people who were here already helped the pilgrims hunt and grow food. After the fall harvest, when they had gathered the crops, they all sat down together at a big feast. People still have a feast just like that, one each November. They eat roasted turkey and squash and jams. They call the day Thanksgiving, and it's coming up next week." "Yikes," said Toby. "I'd better find a place to hide." "Be careful," said the owl. "There are farms beyond the woods, and those families like to eat roasted turkey too." Toby walked for hours through the woods. Eventually he came to a clearing. Beyond this was a farmhouse. Toby remembered what the owl had said and tried to keep out of sight. "Where do you think you're going?" asked the chicken as Toby crept up to the henhouse. "Oops, sorry," said Toby. "I'm looking for a safe place to stay. I don't want to become someone's Thanksgiving dinner." "This is a henhouse," said the chicken, "not a hotel for fancy feathered fowl. Unless you can lay eggs, you can't stay here." Toby backed away from the angry chicken and looked around the farmyard. "I'll check over there," he thought, spotting a pig pen. "Stay out of our pen," shouted a large pig as Toby approached. Toby tried to talk to the lambs, but they ran off. The cat was busy cleaning her kittens, and the dog was burying a bone. No one seemed interested in helping him. Then Toby peered into the barn. The farmer was there, trying to saddle a young mare named Nutmeg. The horse kept moving away and bucking. "I don't think we can keep this horse," the farmer told his farmhand. "She acts pretty mean. Between that fox going after our chickens all the time and this nasty girl, we've got our hands full." When the people left the barn, Toby slipped in and hid there. He didn't know what he was going to do. After a while, he heard a rustling noise. "Maybe it's an animal who will help me," he thought. Toby followed the sound to the clearing. Then he saw a fox lying low in the grass. It was eyeing the animals in the yard. "That must be the fox the farmer was talking about," he thought. "I ought to warn someone." Just then the fox began to sneak into the clearing. Toby jumped up and started to gobble as loudly as he could. The fox whirled around to see who was making so much noise. "Go away!" Toby shouted. He was surprised at his own courage. "Only after I've made turkey nuggets out of you," the fox snarled, as he slowly moved closer to Toby. Toby had heard some other turkeys say that foxes were quick and smart. Well, he had just to be quicker and smarter. He suddenly remembered how the big turkeys back at the turkey ranch had shown off. Toby fanned out his tail feathers in an awesome display. The fox stopped in his tracks, surprised. But his surprise soon turned to laughter. "You think that will scare me off?" he said, sneering. Then the smile left his face and he sprang forward. But when he tried to catch Toby, the turkey leaped first one way, then another. Toby was young and light on his feet. He dodged backward when the fox advanced. He veered left when the fox moved to the right. His fancy stepping soon had the fox running in circles. The farm animals quickly realized what was happening and cheered for Toby. Even Nutmeg, who usually kept to herself, left her stall to watch. Toby managed to beat off the fox with his powerful wings. He grabbed the fox's tail with his sharp beak. The commotion brought the farmer and his son running out of the house. The fox saw the farmer coming and took off unseen toward the woods. "Where did that turkey come from?" asked the startled farmer's son when he spied Toby. "I don't know," said the farmer, "but he should make a tasty Thanksgiving treat." The farmer tried to grab Toby, but before he could catch him, Nutmeg neighed loudly. Toby turned and rushed into the barn. Nutmeg motioned with her head for Toby to come stand between her legs. The farmer's son, who had followed, laughed at the sight of the turkey and the horse together. The farmer slowly approached the horse and led her out of the stall. He walked her around the yard. He was surprised at how calm and gentle she seemed with the turkey there. She even let the farmer pet her as they walked. Toby stayed between the horse's legs the entire time. The farmer tried again to grab the turkey. Nutmeg threw back her head and bared her teeth. "Okay, okay," the farmer cried. "Looks like you've got yourself a friend. The turkey can stay with you." "What about our dinner?" asked the boy. "Son," said the farmer, "I have a hunch that this turkey is going to be more valuable out here in the barn than on our dinner table." The farmer was right. Nutmeg wasn't really mean at all. She had just been lonely and frightened. With Toby by her side, she became confident and easy to handle. The farmer never knew that Toby had saved the chickens, and never guessed why the fox didn't bother them anymore. Still, on Thanksgiving Day, when the family counted their blessings, they included the turkey they didn't eat. A turkey for Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving morning. Mr. Moose helped Mrs. Moose set the Thanksgiving table. "Sheep will sit here. He likes a chair that's straight up and down," Mr. Moose said. "Rabbit here, porcupine here. Mr. and Mrs. Goat here." He smiled at his wife. "Isn't it nice to have friends to share Thanksgiving?" Mrs. Moose set 2 paper pilgrims, one at each end of the table. She placed the paper turkey with its great fan of tail between the candles and stood back. "They look good, my dear," Mr. Moose said. Mrs. Moose sighed. "Yes, but I wish we had a real turkey. Everyone always has a turkey for Thanksgiving. Everyone but us." Mr. Moose nuzzled Mrs. Moose's head. "Well, that won't do. I will go this minute and find you a turkey for Thanksgiving." Mr. Moose put on his cap and went out. Mist wandered through the bare trees. The cold made his nose water. Rabbit poked his head from his rabbit hole. Mr. Moose, is it dinner time? Not quite yet. Mrs. Moose wants a turkey. I'm off to find one. Rabbit joined him in 3 quick hops. I'll come too. Moose's warm breath hung wide in front of him. Snow crunched under his hoofs and made little holes that Rabbit jumped over. I see the goats, Rabbit said. Mr. Goat raised his head and spat out the tin can he was chewing. Is it dinner time? He called. Not till I find a turkey, Mr. Moose said. We saw one down by the river, Mrs. Goat told him, and Mr. Goat added, a fat one. The goats leaped down from their perch. We'll show you. Sheep was further up the hillside, looking round as a fur ball in his winter coat. Is it dinner time? He bellowed. First I have to find a turkey, Mr. Moose bellowed back. There's a turkey next on the river bank, Sheep called. Wait for me. The earth smelled of ice and moss as they crunched along. Above them a crow hung, black as a puff of wood smoke. Porcupine was hiding in the underbush. It's you, he said, and put his quills down. We're off to get a turkey for Mrs. Moose, Mr. Moose explained. Do you want to come? I'm slow, Porcupine said. Pick me up on your way back. Who'd want to pick you up? Sheep asked, and laughed his bleat of a laugh. I'll wait, Porcupine told Mr. Moose. They saw Turkey's nest right away, and Turkey himself peering over the top of it. Turkey, Turkey, Mr. Moose called in his sweetest voice. Ah! Turkey blundered from his nest and ran. Mr. Moose lumbered after him. Turkey, don't run. We just want you for Thanksgiving dinner. Turkey ran faster. Mr. Moose saw the red and blue sheen of Turkey's neck. Turkey's tail brushed crumbs of snow behind him as he tried to fly. Too fat, Mr. Goat said. Turkey's legs bent in the middle as he fell. Mr. Moose put a booted hoof on his head and smiled his great toothy smile. I hope you don't have other plans for Thanksgiving, Turkey. He helped Turkey up. My wife won't mind that you're too fat, he said. Let's go, it's getting close to dinner time. They marched Turkey in front. I'm sorry about this, for I can see you don't want to come, Mr. Moose said. But I must insist. A promise is a promise. There was a wreath of dried fruit on the Moose's house door. Inside the house was filled with Thanksgiving smells. Mr. Moose hid Turkey behind him. Look who I brought, Mrs. Moose, he said. Sheep, the goats, Rabbit and Porcupine. And ta-da! He pushed Turkey around in front of him. For you, a turkey for Thanksgiving. Mrs. Moose clapped her hoofs. I'm so happy to have you, Turkey. Thank you, Mr. Moose. Now everything's perfect. Shall we sit? Sheep asked, heading for the straight up and down chair. Let's, Mrs. Moose pointed. Rabbit here, Porcupine here, Mr. and Mrs. Goat here, and look. I brought a chair from the other room in hopes of a turkey. A chair? Turkey stammered. Right next to me, Mrs. Moose said. Light the candles, Mr. Moose. There were bowls of acorns and alfalfa sprouts, dried since summer. There was willow bark and cured grasses and wild parsley. There were pressed leaves, thin and pale as new ice on a pond. I hope you find something here to your liking, Mr. Turkey, Mrs. Moose said. I wasn't sure of your taste. You are so kind to worry about my taste, Turkey said. I thought you'd be worrying about how I'd taste. Heavens no! Mrs. Moose smiled his big toothed smile and filled everyone's cup with cold spring water. It's so nice to have friends round the table at Thanksgiving. Turkey's waddles wobbled. It's even nicer to be at your table and not on it, he said. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody! Happy Thanksgiving, Turkey!